Welcome. Hi, everybody. LB here. So happy to see you coming in. I'm looking at both my screens. I see Laura here and Melissa. Hello, lovely. Hi, Nicole and Trevor and Sloan and Yasmin and Nicole. This is going to be lots of fun. Go ahead and open your chats up. I'm going to suggest you get something to take some notes with. Well, obviously I wrote it, so I think it's worth, I think it's noteworthy. I'm also going to suggest that maybe you don't multitask during this one. This is different than anything you may have seen me present before. And because of that, I'm going to get real honest and tell you right now, I'm pretty nervous. We're going to have a good time, and I thank you very much for being here. Yes, this is being recorded. We will share it. I'm going to go ahead and start my slides, and we'll give everybody one more minute to get here. Feel free anytime to chat. You can add questions. I'll try to get to those at the end, and I'm going to share my contact information as well if you've got questions that we didn't get in there. Barbara! Thanks for the chat. I wish I could see you right now. Oh, I'm so nervous to do this, everybody. Here we go. I'm going to share my slides. This is great. Woo-hoo-hoo! We're 1 minute after, so I'm going to get started. Welcome. My name is Lauren Bailey. My friends call me LB. I'm the founder of Factor 8 and Girls Club, two of the logos you see on this slide. And today we're going to talk about confidence. And I'm going to share some tips on how to be your most confident self. I have to thank Outreach for sponsoring this webinar, and Chorus, our title sponsor for Girls Club, who has made everything you're going to hear for the next 58 minutes possible. Confidence is not often taught. In fact, it's hard to even study. I've spent many years doing that, and it's hard to learn, but it affects everything, doesn't it? When we doubt ourselves, we're so busy with the conversations in our heads that we're not present. We don't try our hardest, and we certainly don't show up as our best selves. I've been learning and teaching what I've been learning about confidence during Girls Club for the past 3 years. If you haven't heard of us before, the mission of Girls Club is to help more women earn leadership positions in sales. And we do that through a sales management certification, mentoring, and confidence building. It is our secret sauce. And frankly, what I've been learning, thanks to the wonderful women of Girls Club, has changed my life. And I'm going to share some of that with you today. I'm going to back up just a second first and be authentic with y'all and tell you that, yep, I'm nervous because what's happening right now has been a dream of mine for a really long time. Helping people develop this skill is what my 7th grade self said she wanted to do when she grew up. I wouldn't have told you that if you knew me in 7th grade, because it was like that secret dream that was so deeply rooted that I wouldn't share that with anybody because that's just freaking scary, right? I speak a lot these days. I'm grateful to be able to do that. I speak on virtual selling. I speak on management skills, how to be a better rep or a better manager or leader, but that's just stuff I know, right? This is the stuff I know and the stuff I'm learning, and it's kind of personal. So let me back up for 20 seconds. Like many of us, I didn't grow up very confident. My parents did the best they could, which is code for, and we moved a lot, right? So I was always that weird new kid, like every few years, the weird new kid. I was painfully shy. I looked a lot like a boy. I was desperate for acceptance, and it was tough, and it was lonely, and I was sad, and I was not comfortable in my own skin. Eventually, I got very good at faking it, but never really confident, right? This is what I lacked. This is what I admired. This is what I craved. I didn't know that that was the name of it for a while, right? I knew something was missing, but I wasn't sure what. I admired this in other people. You know, those other people who get it, right? Let me define confidence for everybody. It is this deeply rooted feeling that I'm okay. It's a belief in myself and my own self-worth. It's being okay with me and hell, maybe even liking me. It's not about being perfect. And it's not being good at being what other people need us to be. And that can be tricky. So the truth is, I was afraid to start Girls Club because who the hell am I to teach confidence? So I took a risk. I dedicated myself to learning it out loud, right? I said, I don't know all of this, but I'm going to go on a journey and I'm going to work on my own confidence and I'm going to share it with y'all as I go. And whoa, what I've learned. Here we are 3 years later. And can I tell you something? It's like Dorothy coming out of the land of black and white and living in color. Pretty sure that was a sketch comedy show. So it like almost every week, something new is happening that surprises me as I get less perfect and more confident. And I'm here to share some of my big ahas. We're going to talk about fear. I'm going to tell you at least one fact I didn't make up about your brain. I will, if there's time, tell you a story about the very best date of my life with an 80-year-old who didn't speak any English. But first, I'm going to talk about something that you who know me well know I love. And that is dirty words. Yes, I'm an avid swearer. I've probably done it 3 times already. But today I'm going to let you fill in the blanks. And here we go with dirty word number 1. What do I mean when I say? You can chat it in if you want. If you're working at home alone, feel free to yell it out loud if you'd like. Delilah, I absolutely love the risk. This is great and fun. And you knew there'd be a trick because I would just say shit. It's should. Yes. Dirty word number 1 is should. What a horrible word. Shoulds are our mothers inside of our heads. Shoulds are written by social media and other fake news. Shoulds are these impossible standards that we somehow, sometime decided should be true for us. And you know what else they are? They're total crap, right? Should is you shaking your finger. Nobody likes a finger shaker, right? So why would we do it to ourselves? I should work out is my favorite one. I should make my bed. I should eat less white cheddar popcorn and full bottles of Prosecco, right? I should put on real pants. I should walk the dog. I challenge you right now, action number 1, to take a mental count. In fact, a Post-it note count of how many shoulds you give yourself during the day and the week. And the next step, of course, is to recognize them as the dirty words that they are. And here's why this is important. Isn't this fun? I will find you and I will shake my finger at you. It's important to identify and get rid of the shoulds because shoulds turn into shame, baby, the other SH word. As a noun, shame is a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish, in my case, behavior. A verb, which is so much worse, a verb is making someone else feel this way. And what's the worst verb is when we make ourselves feel this way. We shame ourselves for not meeting impossible standards that should create. If your stomach ever hurt when you were replaying a mistake in your head, you recognize shame, right? If you got a pit, if you got a ball, you got a lump, if you had pain and you literally felt it somewhere in your body when you recounted something that you effed up, ladies and gentlemen, meet my friend shame. All right. Now, if you get this, your name badge probably looks like this. Y'all know who you are. Some of y'all have laminated this badge. You wear it with pride. I know I did for many, many, many years. Okay. But I did take it off 3 years ago. I still have it. It's just at the bottom of my purse with some like lip gloss and breakfast bar kind of gunk all stuck to it. I believe that the perfectionists of the world may actually be the least confident. Who are we trying to please? And what are we trying to prove? How many shoulds and how much shame do we carry? Michelle, you feel personally attacked. Baby girl, I hear you loud and clear. I own this too, okay? So as I grew up, I lived in perfectionism. For me, I got it at school, right? I got my acceptance in my atta girls by overachieving. Right? I was like, you were too, Michelle, right? You had over a 4 point in high school. In college, not only did I keep my perfect grades, but I did a double major. I worked full time. I captained the POM squad, and I graduated in 3.5 years. You know what that is? Obviously something I'm at least a little proud of, or I would not have detailed it for you. But it's also stupid and nuts and have a lot to do why I have health issues right now. Okay. I was broken inside and I was over proving. And it does lead me to a question, Michelle and my other friends out there. Are our uber achievers of the world maybe actually a little broken? Right? What's your inner sense of self-worth with all of that outer glory happening? If you recognize that you're only happiest with a perfect score, under par, an A+, a perfect review, whatever that may be, I want you to dig into this confidence stuff a little bit with me. And like I said, it's not easy to learn about. If you were to Google perfectionism, you'd find this lovely lady. Isn't she great? Michelle, you're killing me. I'm loving you right now with your GPA. I did beat you, be clear. That's wrong. Like, what's wrong with me, right? All right, let's look at this lady because I resembled her as well. This woman is doing everything for everyone at once, right? Any working single mothers out there, this just looks like a Tuesday at 10 a.m. to you. I get you, right? Especially for those of us working at home still. Congratulations to you if you're back in the office. It is like going on vacation. Would you like to go to the Bahamas? No, man, I drove to work. This is fantastic. I find that women do resemble this a little bit more than men. I think somehow our perfectionism, we may have social media to thanks for this. We may have these impossible perfectionist standards where we don't have to just do everything perfect, but look perfect as well. These women have never eaten a cracker in their lives. But gentlemen, yes, you're also misrepresented in social media. This is really interesting study that came out by the Florida House Experience in 2018. 88% of women compare what they see in the mirror to what they see in the media. I know I do, right? But guess what? So do 63% of men. Did I just say men? Sorry, men. Social media is absolutely to blame for a lot of the shoulds. Be clear, right? Those women are airbrushed. The food in the picture is actually fake. And yes, your sister-in-law did Photoshop her Christmas card with the dog looking at the camera and the baby not melting down. But as women, there is another reason we fall victim to that witch perfectionism, right? When we see what we should be, we take ourselves on a little ride to Shameville on the back of this SOB. Guilt. Guilt is the bridge between should and shame. That is a crap bridge. Guilt is the endless mental battery. Guilt is the one that hits repeat when you replay what you should have said, what you should have done, what you screwed up until it hurts in your body. All right? Guilt shakes the finger at the extra 5 pounds, the flubbed call, the bad meeting. What you may not know is why. I have a very interesting, completely untrue medical fact next. Here's why. The X chromosome, it's actually lined with guilt. It totally makes sense, right? We have twice the X chromosomes, twice the guilt. You see, it's not your mom's fault. Ladies, I hear you swimming in so much guilt so often. In fact, did you know that we speak a separate language born of guilt? Oh, I bet you know. Gentlemen, I bet you know too. That's girl code. When a woman in your life says, no, you don't have to bring anything, just come. Y'all know what we're supposed to do then, right? Ladies, go ahead and type this in. You're going to a girlfriend's house. No, No, you don't have to bring anything, Carly. Bring something. Yes, you offer twice more. When she says no, you bring wine. This is girl code. All right, let's try this again. No, it's okay that I cooked. I got the dishes. I'll clean. It's perfectly fine. Gentlemen, let me translate that for you. Get up as quick as possible and do the damn dishes. Okay, that's right. It's fine. Anybody from the South? You know girl code, and it sounds like, bless her heart. That is not actually a nice statement, okay? At work, it sounds like, sure, I can take on that project, no problem. Yeah, I can get that done by 5 p.m. No, I don't mind working late this weekend. Again, sure, I'll fill in for that job with absolutely no raise and do it indefinitely. Absolutely. Ladies, I'm talking to you for a second. Girl code is crap. Our husbands, brothers, bosses, fathers, sons, they don't know what we mean. So let's just stop this. We're legitimizing our double standard. And our double standard is based on the shoulds. Is that making sense? Should put it in our heads. And it is crap. Now, here's an actual true medical fact. We do come by this more honestly. Ladies, perfectionism is housed in the medial frontal cortex. Scientists call it responsible for things like hypervigilance, perfectionism, and insecurity. It is bigger in the female brain than the male brain, even though the female's brain is smaller than the male's brain. So this is as close as brain science is getting. Yes, we can blame it on the brain. We are hardwired to be perfectionists, right? So scientists call it hypervigilance. I call it, you know what I call it, all right? Perfectionism is a result of shoulds, and it's the reason for the confidence gap. Now, anybody in Girls Club has heard me talk about this before. This study came out of HP, published in Forbes, and it proved perfectionism in the workplace for women. If there's a job posting with 10 criteria, a man will apply if he has 6 out of the 10. A woman waits to have all 10. And the more I think about this, the crazier it is, right? How would we be expected to know how to perfectly do a job we've never had before? Now that I'm an employer, I understand I'm just looking for raw talent and potential. I'm going to teach you how to do the job. But this is why we don't have women in our leadership positions, because they're waiting to know the job. So leaders and enablement managers listening right now, let women train beforehand for the job. We're doing that in Girls Club, and we have a 70% promotion rate from individual contributor to management before the end of our 6-month certification program. So yes, we found the magic bullet, and I've just told you what it is. Ladies, we got to cut it out. This is crap. We are missing opportunities, and people are so eager. They are clamoring for more women on their teams. There's never a better time to be a female in business, but you got to get off your own damn hand, and you've got to raise it. All right. We're missing opportunities because we're holding ourselves back due to a lack of confidence born out of BS shoulds and perfectionism. Let's just stop. It also gives birth to this. And let me tell you, I may have a picture of a woman here, but I've heard it just as many men who absolutely have imposter syndrome. This means that when I do get credit for being great, I don't even believe it. I can't accept it. I deflect it. Oh, come on. You know why? There's a dirty word in my head. I was expecting me to be perfect. And if I actually did well, it was probably a fluke. So I can't feel good about it. But isn't feeling good the goal? Isn't that feeling of confidence? That's just sad. Here's what you need to know. Perfectionism starves confidence. I'm going to repeat that. Perfectionism starves confidence. They cannot coexist. That's a big deal. Perfectionism sucks all the air out of a room. It sucks all the joy out of a situation. It sucks all the feel good out of achievement. It gives birth to imposter syndrome and should and guilt and shame. So how do we stop the madness? I think I found a silver bullet, and it's called failure. Let's get good with it, baby, because failure starves perfectionism. I want you to get okay with it. I want you to embrace it. I want you to talk about it. I want you to go as crazy as to celebrate it. We started doing this at Factor 8. Yesterday, we had our first team meeting, and I asked my top trainer to celebrate a failure. Ooh, he was brave. It was really awesome. Really awesome. Everybody thought we were a little nuts, but give it 6 months and we're all going to be excited to share something we messed up. Because you know what? If you're not failing a little bit, you're probably not trying hard enough. Having a culture that will celebrate trying and failing, it will improve your results. It will bond your team. It will fix your marriage. It will wash your windows. It will change the oil in your car. How do I know this? Because I've spent the last 3 years celebrating it. When I said I would learn out loud every single month for 3 years, I've recorded what we call at Girls Club a Rise Up on Record. Now, yes, look at the hairstyles, right? One of these is in my bathrobe. I did plenty of these at 3 o'clock in the morning. Rise Up on Records log the 3 Fs, the fears, the failures, and the F-ups. And we celebrate them. And we say it's okay to do. And the women binge the failures because we think everybody else is perfect. Thank you very much. The shoulds, the perfectionism, and social media, right? It's total crap. Let's celebrate it instead. And that's the first thing you can do to start to starve perfectionism and cross out dirty word number 1, should. Barbie, you're totally right. Growth mindset. Here we go. Dirty word number 2. Ready to have some fun? This one's my favorite. Feel free to shout it out loud if you're not in the office. Maybe don't type this one in, though. That's right. It's the word fine. Right? I'm fine. We're fine. It'll be fine. It is fine. You know who's fine? This fool. Fine is why we overcommit. Sure, I can handle the cleaning too. It's fine. Need that sooner? No, it's fine. Oh, the salary's less? I think it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. Listen, I don't need it. I don't need to get into leadership yet, right? I've got more to learn. It's fine. Now I'm going to introduce you to the opposite of fine, the non-perfectionist. Y'all remember Sarah Connor? Oh, think she's faking it? Think she's judging herself? When you look at her, do you think she feels like an imposter? Is she someone who's overcommitted, right? She doesn't give a damn if she was picked last or says the wrong word in a meeting or what the woman in front of her thinks at the carpool or what her neighbor posts on Insta. You think she waits and hopes her boss notices all of her performance? No, she's a badass. And badass is part of me. They just don't care. I have to go back to this picture because it's really important that you notice. The only multitasking she's doing is smoking. She's not even wearing a bra. I love her. She's awesome. She's a badass. Now we're going to compare it to her. The perfectionist and the overgiver who works late every night after the kids go to bed. The guy who pays out of pocket for the spiff money his company didn't approve. And me, who when I'm starving makes breakfast for everybody else in my family, and then I'm still starving. Then I feel like an imposter when somebody actually does recognize me. What I am is a dumbass. There's a difference, right? This person is a badass. And how do we define that? Somebody who knows their gifts, use them unabashedly, and doesn't apologize for them. Do you think she expects to win? Oh, hell yes. Now, this definition of badass isn't mine. It belongs to Shonda Rhimes, a badass in her own right. Shonda Rhimes, in the book Year of Yes, read it if you haven't. By the way, she's responsible for all the fabulous Thursday night TV for the last decade and Bridgerton now on Netflix. She's awesome, right? And she talked about doing something that we can all do, which is promoting Bad-Assery. Isn't that fun? Most of our parents didn't raise us with techniques for being badasses. They used guilt and shoulds and shame. It just happens, right? But if we decide as leaders, we're going to promote it on our team, as individuals that we're going to promote it, right? In ourselves, in our friends, in our colleagues, in our co-workers, what a difference we can make. Let's look for opportunities to help each other be unapologetically awesome. Let's encourage, let's compliment, let's promote some badassery. All right, I've got a couple ideas and actions that you can take right away. Here's the first one: embrace karma. Now I'm going to use karma slightly differently than most. Here's my very favorite definition. I'll let you see that first. This definition of karma to me means you get what you put out there. Okay. It's not just getting what you deserve. Let me put it this way. It's getting what you expect. When I start my day being intentional about my mission, which is to help people feel confident and successful at work, whether it's Girls Club or Factor 8, that's my mission, right? When I get really lofty, my goal is to change lives. And when I start my day that way, it happens. I get intentional. I expect it and it happens. And if we know that we get what we expect, my action number one for you is to expect more. Expect to get the deal. Expect to meet someone amazing. 10 years ago, my bestie Amy said to me, I guess I'm just going to, I wish I could find somebody I could just tolerate. That's all I want now. And I pulled the car over and I looked at her and I said, Amy, I guess I just wish you'd expect more for yourself. I swear to God, she met her husband that night. It was really a lot of fun. So isn't this much better than the garbage we typically tell ourselves? For many of us, we have to take this step first. Badass reaction number 2, you got to decide what you want. Do you know? If you haven't spent dedicated time asking yourself the big questions, you probably don't know. Michelle, my girl, if we've been busy pleasing everybody else, we may be hurtling towards a goal that isn't even ours. I invite you to grab a journal and a bottle of wine and dig in to this one. What do I want to be doing all day? Not just what title do I want to earn? Because believe me, I chased it like crazy. I really wanted initials in my title when I was in corporate America, and I never made it. I didn't get the initials in my title. So I started my own company instead and printed whatever the hell I wanted on my business cards and realized it was silly. It was this crazy thing that I was chasing. I don't need that anymore. The bigger questions aren't what title I want. It's how do I want to feel all day? What kind of people do I want to be around? When we hire people at Factor 8, the very last thing we ask each other as a team is, would we go on vacation with this person? And if the answer is not yes, then I don't want to hang out with them. Okay. How do I want to feel when I get up in the morning? How do I want other people to feel around me? It's important. Why are you here on this, right? What do I want? Here's the next step, and it's critical. Pay attention. Did I ask for it? Did I ask for it? Who in this world knows what you want? I don't know how I thought my dream of being an inspirational speaker was going to come true if I kept it to myself for 40 years, but I did. Whoops. Don't wait for someone to offer you the job, the raise, the assignment, the date, the cup of coffee, the last donut. Ask for it. Repeat it 10 times a day if you have to. Check in with yourself. What do I want? And have I asked for it? And some of us have been so silent for so long. We've been ignoring ourselves and being dumbasses for so many years. We don't even know what we want. And we certainly don't know how to ask for it. So it's okay. Just check in and start. I'm going to relate this to work for a second. One of the things I've learned through Girls Club is that many women and I bet this is true for many of our men as well, we wait to get noticed. We wait for somebody to see our perfect attendance and perfect reports and perfect scores and then come proactively give us a raise instead of asking for it. Here's a couple things you can try. We're all about tactics, making it easy for people to try things around here, okay? Fill in the blanks. Do you have a role model who's doing something that you wish you were doing right now, whether it's at work or not? Use these lines. I was super intrigued by how you blank. And if I'm honest, you're kind of a role model of mine, and I'd like to learn more about how to blank one day. Could I please book us a meeting where you might lend me some advice? With social media, you have access to the people that you admire. You can DM just about anybody. Give it a try. Here's one you can use for the promotion. I'm super eager to advance at Factor 8. And if you're open to it, I'd like to book us a meeting next month where maybe you could help me see the career path and see what I need to do to earn it. This is advocating for yourself, okay? It doesn't mean I think I'm all that in a bag of chips. I'm clearly ready to be promoted. I don't know how you got your job. Clearly I should have it. I'm better than anybody. Promote me. It doesn't mean that. It means you're getting ready to be ready. And that's when you go talk to someone. Quick story. 2 years ago, I was speaking for Outreach at their Gals and Sals event after work, all the women in sales. And Outreach is such a cool company that not only all the women from Seattle were there, but they'd flown in the women from Florida and their other centers. And at this after work event, it was myself and Lori Richardson and their CMO, Margaret, on a little panel, and all the women were asking questions. It was really neat. Ahead of time, there was a wine hour. And when I go to those kinds of events, I do my best, to go hang out with the dudes. Because I just think it's super cool, guys, when I see you come to events like this or events like those for women in sales and be an advocate and an ally. And so I was talking to Ross, one of their sales directors, and one of his brand new hires, and we're going to call him Danny for today's purposes. Danny, by the way, still texts me. And Danny was talking about, oh, well, yeah, well, this is kind of cool. And advancing women in sales. I never even knew something like this existed. Danny was hired on Monday. This was Thursday, day 4 on the job. All right. And he says, well, Ross, how do you get ahead around here? And Ross explained pretty easily. You go from this job to this job, and it goes to that job, and you work on this, and you need these kinds of results. And here's about how long it takes. And Danny said, yeah, that's great. Anybody want another beer? And everything was good. I went and spoke on the panel. We were taking questions. This adorable 20-something woman in the back of the room raises her hand, and she says, hey, I've been the top BDR around here for a little over 2 years now. When is it too soon to start talking to people about advancement? There it is. 2 years, 4 days. You need to raise your hand and you need to ask. And we're afraid that doing so makes us seem like we're big shots, right? But here's something really important you need to know. I have this on a plaque on my wall, and anytime I talk about it, I get the chills. Here we go. Oh, we're going to advance right past it when she comes up finally. You playing small does not serve the world. As you let your own light shine, you indirectly give others permission to do the same. And I'll tell you that this quote has helped me as my life has gone from black and white into living color in this last few years. Like I said, every week, I'm surprised by some amazing new development about what I'm not nervous to do anymore, or who I'm comfortable talking to, or God, you know what? I've never been fatter in my life, but sometimes I'll walk by a mirror and think I look pretty good. These things never happened in my life before, right? And it feels like this picture. But what's neat is thinking about that and sharing it is hard to do, because there's like, who the hell do I think I am to try to be inspiring? I have that fear. And this quote helps me. It helps me play it big when I feel like being small. It reminds me to be brave. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But I want you to be clear that wherever you are right now, you're a role model to someone. You may not know who it is. It might be the new kid at work, the Danny. It might be your niece. It might be your manager. somebody is admiring what you're doing. You keep doing the right things, you can't help but inspire. And it's okay if you don't feel 100% ready. And it's okay if you don't feel 100% perfect. In fact, we kind of prefer it, right? If you haven't gone out and encouraged somebody from your place of privilege, whatever privilege that may be, then you're missing the boat. I invite you instead to go promote some Bad-Assery and get comfortable showing your own. All right, last dirty word. In fact, it's a 2-pack. What do you think this one is? I love just imagining what everybody's saying right now. Here it is, not ready. Because asking is scary. And they might say no. I'm not ready to go for management yet. I'm not ready to be an AE. I'm not ready to serve on the PTA, whatever it is, okay? They might say no. Even worse, they might laugh. In fact, I'm pretty sure they might stand on their chair and laugh. They might stand on their chair to stand on their desk, invite other people to stand on the desk, all of them point at you and laugh. It's never going to happen, right? But this is what it feels like in our brains. It's okay. We're wired that way. And you're not alone. I want to talk about bravery. Being brave doesn't mean not feeling scared. Being brave means feeling scared and doing it anyway. Now, I chose this picture because this little guy looks a lot like my boy, Cameron. And Cameron loved superheroes growing up. We just watched something Marvel last night. My kids are 9 and 10. And they had more capes than they had t-shirts growing up in this house. It was sad to watch them all leave. And when they got scared to do something, Mom, I can't, I'm scared. And we would talk about, hey, then be brave. It doesn't mean you're not scared. You just got to do it anyway. Now, for them, it was hilarious because they hated to go to the bathroom when we were in the family room. The bathroom was down the east wing of the house and it was dark, and that makes it sound like I have a really big house, and that's not what I mean. But like, it wasn't that big. They were just scared. They were little kids. It felt huge to them. So he would go put on his cape, and it would help him have the bravery to go and pee all over my walls in the bathroom. All right. But we all do this, feeling scared and doing anyway. It's speaking up in a meeting. It's jumping off the high dive. It's signing up to speak in public. It's purposely putting yourself out of your comfort zone for the purpose of growth or for the greater good or for your career or for your future self. I love doing favors for future Lauren. When I was young, I didn't have a choice. Every time I walked into a new classroom as that stupid new kid, right? 22 pairs of eyes would turn and stare at me every year or two. And I hated it. And I didn't have the choice. But it sure taught me bravery, didn't it? Right? That scared kid loves to public speak these days. I don't call it bravery. I call it putting on my big girl pants. And you've done it too, guys and gals, right? You've taken a risk this year, no matter how small. There was something that scared you and you did it anyway. And if you didn't, I'm going to invite you to. Let me convince you. I want to talk about this feeling you get when you take a risk. Give me a yes in chat if you saw this movie. This was A Star is Born a few years ago. Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga. It's probably like the last grown-up movie I saw in the theater. Yes, 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 yes. It's streaming now. You got to see it. This clip I took right off of YouTube. You got like YouTube when Lady Gaga gets on stage with Bradley Cooper in A Star is Born, and watch this 2-minute clip. But you see it all. This is the moment, right? This is when she conquers her fear and gets on stage. And they do such a good job of showing her off stage. She's totally overwhelmed. Her heart is beating out of her chest. She can feel it in her throat. She's so scared. And he's saying, come on out and sing, come out and sing. And she's literally like, I feel it, just remembering the movie. She's saying, no way. I'm not ready. I'm fine back here. I know I should, but And then her legs start walking and you can see it on her face. What are they doing right now, right? Oh, what's happening? And she gets up to the microphone and this is her face. Holy crap, I'm here. Wow. There is a place for bravery. It gets us on stage. Isn't that great? There are all kinds of capes and masks that we put on to help us do this. It doesn't just have to be a superhero cape, right? Let's look at this lady's cape and mask. She is suited up. Would you recognize her in the morning? There is so much fancy going on. And how about him? Look at that. So he's so shiny. As humans, we protect ourselves with all kinds of superhero suits, right? These two are suiting up for something. I will tell you that when I do something I'm nervous like this today, I wear Chanel number 5. I'm very clear that y'all can't smell me, but it gives me the temporary bravery. It could be what we wear. It could be our perfect email or glossy presentation or our sales script. That's us hiding a bit in plain sight. I love this picture. Sometimes we hide, right? That's my cat, Toby. I can't see you. You can't see me. I can't see you. You can't see me. Here's somebody else who's hiding. Huh? We hide in our phones. I can't see you. You can't see me. It's not that I don't know anybody here. It's not that I don't have any friends. It's that I'm very busy and important. Other people really, really want to talk to me, right? But when we hide, we're staying off stage. We're missing out. See that guy behind her? That's her future boss, her future husband, her future best friend. And she's missing it, man. I just want to smack her around a little bit. Get on stage, girl. But hiding it protects us when we don't have a suit or we just don't have the energy to be brave. If you feel like there's a work you and a home you're living in bravery. I used to work for a global software company, and there's a lot of really smart people, but not a lot of nice ones. And I had to suit up every day to go to work. And it wasn't just, my nice suit. It was like a suit of armor to go in there and fight the fight. You have to do that. If you have the Sunday night saddies, you might be suiting up, right? If you've got to mentally prepare to go get something done, you're not in authenticity. Does that make sense, you guys? Right? Here's why it matters. Because bravery burns out. We can't keep being brave. If we got to put on a show to go make our calls and do our meetings, and after a couple of days of it, we need to hide under our covers in bed, binging Ted Lasso, then it shows us that we're living in bravery and we're headed for a burnout. There are lots of ways that we suit up, like I said. I will tell you something, right? If I felt nervous and scared before I went to the mommy group in the neighborhood, that was my sign. If I got to drink a bottle of wine before I hang out with my sister-in-law, that's my sign, okay? You're suiting up, you're living in bravery. So how do we get from bravery that gets us on stage to confident where we love being there and we're not hiding or suiting up anymore? The answer to that is courage. The bridge between confidence and bravery is courage. Let's look at this rendition of Courage by Nelson Mandela. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. So how do we conquer it versus just suit up and ignore it? We got to look at it. We got to stand in it. Courage is admitting the fear and standing in it quietly. Here's something I learned by watching Ted Lasso last night. This is a quote by Maria Rilke. I'm probably messing that up. Our deepest fears are like dragons guarding our deepest treasures. What I'm talking about here is identifying the fear and actually embracing it. It's kind of what I'm doing here on this webinar. And I will tell you, it's a little terrifying, but it's going to feel so freaking good on the other side. Fear sucks. Fear is real. Fear is big. And we all spend so much time pretending it doesn't exist, don't we? What I like to tell people is that fear is like a monster under the bed, not just a dragon. Does anybody remember being a kid like this one and feeling paralyzed about the monster under the bed or in the closet or wherever it was? I used to see shapes in my comforter and think, oh my God, it's right there on the bed. And I wouldn't move for hours. I mean, cold sweats, man, I had to pee. But if I didn't move, it would be okay. I'm not going to lie. Still happens sometimes when I'm home alone and I got to check under the bed. I'm scared. But the more we don't look at it, the bigger and scarier it gets until it feels like this guy. So I'm going to ask you to stop ignoring the fear and shine a light on it. Stop being paralyzed. Get out of bed, put the flashlight under there and look at it. Because as soon as we do, it starts getting better. We're not gripped by it. In fact, we can do even better than a light. Let's slap a name tag on it. This cute little guy turned out to be Ned. When we say our fear out loud, it loses its power. And that's why I did my monthly Rise Up on records. Say the fear, say the failure, admit to the F up out loud. I'm going to ask you to try it right now. I want you to identify something that's scary for you, and I want you to write it down. You can shred it. You can eat it. Just write it down. Get it up and out of you. If you're really brave, say it out loud. If you're a freaking maniac, type it in the chat. Awesome. I'm afraid of doing inspirational type talks like this. But let me tell you something. 2 years ago, I stood up on my first stage doing something like this at our finale summit of Girls Club Generation 1. And I said my fears out loud on stage. And you know what happened in the audience? They started reading their phones. They were bored. It's only big to you, man. So when you find it, here's what you do next. You dig in a little bit, all right? You ask yourself why. I'm afraid of public speaking because I might mess up. I might get laughed at. I want you to keep asking why until you feel it somewhere in your body. And then you found the root. You found the fear, you found the dragon, you found the monster. Say that one out loud. Write it down. Now, for anybody who's playing along, oh God, I'm loving you right now, Christine. I'm afraid of presenting because I'm worried I'm going to say something that sounds stupid. Why? Why are you worried about that? Now, Christine, you don't have to type that in, but this is what you do. You keep saying why until you get all the way to the root of it. And here's the favor I'm going to ask everybody. Get your chat in front of you right now. As you're thinking about this, by the way, if you're not and you found this is the perfect time to start doing email, you're hiding from that monster under the bed. But if you do, and you're thinking about it, even if you didn't say it out loud and you only wrote it down and then you ate the paper, you can still use your fingers. I'm going to chat in yes. If your fear at its root has something to do with not being good enough. That was a hell of a risk, isn't it? It's a live webinar. Oh yeah, watch this, guys. Watch. Watch. You are not alone. We all feel that way. Yeah. Yeah. We all have the same freaking fear. Isn't that hilarious? Scroll up and count those yeses. You're not alone. And everybody was just brave enough to do that. You just slapped on your first name tag and congratulations, because that is how you push the shame out of your body and start to enjoy getting on stage. And forevermore, I want you to recognize fear, okay? And not just as a dirty word, but as a sign that something really important is about to happen. not my definition, Gloria Steinem's, and it's pretty fantastic. When you feel ready to say no, when you hear your mind saying, oh, hell no, when you're thinking of saying fine, or I'm not ready, or I shouldn't, all of those swear words, I want you to feel the fear. I want you to recognize it as fear. And here we go, baby. I want you to say yes. Almost every great story I have started with yes. I'm going to share one with you now. This was 15 years ago. I just quit my corporate gig and I needed a little detox. And so I got a couple girlfriends and we all decided to go to Greece. And wouldn't this be fun, right? Single women in Greece. Woohoo! Let's go Mykonos. One by one, everybody backed out. Front row. But I still really needed it. And so I went anyway. And one night, in the middle of my month-long solo trip to Greece, I found myself on the island of Antiparos. And I wasn't supposed to be there. I was with a Norwegian neurosurgeon, try that 3 times fast, and an 80, if he was a day, Greek farmer who spoke almost no English. And this farmer had just gone into his garden with his pocket knife and cut us the literal freshest Greek salad you'll ever have in your life. And he washed his pocket knife off in his kitchen sink, which was the spigot that sat outside of the shack in the middle of the garden on this tiny island in the middle of the Aegean Sea. And he went in and he got the 3 chairs that he owned and he brought them outside. And then he went and got the bottle of ouzo off the top of his mini fridge. And we sat outside and ate Greek salad and drank ouzo. And we laughed until we cried. And I had this moment. I feel it in my body just talking about it. How did I get here, right? Oh my God, this is living. It would have been so easy to say no because it was a string of yeses that got me there. Not just deciding to go to Greece, but deciding to go scuba diving. And then deciding when I booked my Greek ferry to the wrong island to find scuba diving instead. And then deciding to say yes to buddying up with a stranger, not always safe. And then deciding yes to stay with said Norwegian neurosurgeon girl whose name I can't remember, who was a little bit crazy. And yeah, I needed a place to stay. I wasn't even supposed to be on this island. Sure, yes. And thank you. And you want to go to this beach party you heard about on the island? Yes, let's walk 2 miles in our flip-flops after scuba diving all day in 110 degrees. Let's find this party. And then when we couldn't find said party and felt exhausted, and a cart driven by a donkey came up the lane and offered us a ride, we said yes again. That's at least 15 crazy ass yeses that got me to this point. And as I felt like the luckiest girl in the world, I looked up and I was in the middle of a meteor shower. The first star you see is pretty amazing because it's like the definition of darkness, okay? On this tiny island in the middle of oh my God. And then they just kept going and they kept going and they kept going. And that was the best night of my life. I'm sure I'm supposed to say it was when I got married, but it wasn't. I felt alive. And it happened because I said yes. And great things do. So that's action number 3. Even if you're not brave enough yet to raise your hand and ask for the opportunity, the very least you can do is say yes when one is served up to you. And as we root out the fears and the shoulds and the perfectionism and the fines and all of that crap, and we no longer have to suit up to face the people or the workplaces in our lives, you'll find that it feels like this. Authenticity requires a certain degree of transparency and integrity. And it feels like moving from black and white to color. I'm going to ask you to own your fears and your flaws and your own bad-assery, and don't you dare apologize for any one of them. And don't ever let me catch you squaring. Be you. You're pretty fabulous. Woo! I did it. If you like this stuff and you've never heard of it before, come get involved with Girls Club. You can be a mentor, you can be an ally, you can be an advocate. You may apply to be one of our proteges to go through this certification, get a mentor, get the training, and experience this. We're in the business of changing lives. Thanks to Chorus for making it possible. Our next generation starts in April. You have time, but I recommend you hit this now to learn more. wearegirlsclub.com/Gen4. I'm going to give you my contact information. If you've got questions, if you'd like to connect on LinkedIn, if you'd like to give me feedback, I'm scared to freaking death to get it, but I welcome it. Please use it. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you more. If you've got to jump to your next meeting, please do so. These 5 minutes are my gift to you. Grab a coffee, go to the bathroom. I will look for any comments or questions and stay on. Thank you so much for joining me. I love seeing these comments. Let me open and see if I have any questions, and then I will scroll up through chats for anybody who wants to stay. Awesome. Thank you for the positive feedback. That's very helpful. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for being here. LB, hi Barbie. Aw, thank you so much for your positive comments. Oh, Amy Wonderlick, thank you for being here and making me do this. I blame you. How do you navigate when your boss is a perfectionist? Delilah, I hope you're still here. Yes, you are. That's a damn tough one. If your boss is a perfectionist, how do you navigate? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is invite you to ask questions. So there's a lot of assumptions that happen when you get assignments, right? Maybe you can ask about what's most important. Maybe we can ask for a list of priorities on deliverables. Make sure you're always getting timelines and realistic timelines. Make sure that you're sharing what else is on your plate, right? You may use a line like, I can have this to you tomorrow at about 80% or Tuesday at 100%. Let's spend a minute defining what 100% is. I will tell you it's probably tough. In fact, Barbara, maybe you need to weigh in on this one because Barbara used to work for me and I had 3 separate teams tell me I was a slave driver. That was literally the words they pulled out as their name for me. And I thought it was a compliment at the time because I expected so damn much from myself. Of course, I expected that from everybody else. If that's you and you find yourself judging other people harshly, it is a great sign that it's probably your badge that's in the way, right? If we're judging other people, it's usually because we're also judging ourselves. I've noticed that loud and clear. I hope that helps. Feel free to put it in a follow-up question for that. Protect yourself, set some boundaries, ask questions, and move away if you can't. It does. Good. I'm really happy to hear that. And I'm glad this came to you at a good time. Thank you for the compliment, Carla, on transparency. I think that's the key, isn't it? It's become easier and easier to be transparent as I've grown my own confidence. It was really freaking scary at the beginning, and doing it in a public format like this was too. But we did it. We made it through the end. I want to thank you so much for the positive feedback and for being here. And again, for Outreach and Chorus who made it possible. I invite you all to come play with us in Girls Club. I know in the name, but it ain't just for women. We have amazing male allies and mentors and advocates and sponsors. So come get involved, reach out, and have an awesome long weekend, everybody. Woo, woo, woo. I'll see you next time.